All right, everyone, welcome to my podcast. Podcast does not have a name yet. We're gonna figure that out as we go. I've got a few in my mind that I think will work, but I kind of just want to see where this goes before we create a name for it. But this is my friend Harrison. Harrison's gonna be a co-host on this podcast for many times to come. So Harrison is a social media influencer. He's built his entire living off of YouTube, and he is going to be really helping me push this podcast. So we're going to lean on his expertise and use him to create some clips to circulate.
Thanks for having me on. My name is Harrison Nevel. If you guys haven't seen, mainly do content on sneakers, and that's kind of one of the things that Clint and I connected on. Obviously, you guys know Clint, former Yankee, and so he's got the professional athlete side, I've got the social media side, and it's kind of like a dynamic that I think would be good to bring out because there's a lot of talk right now about the Yankees online, and a lot of people want to hear what Clint has to say, and I'm like, Clint, I've done the podcast, I've done this stuff, we talk about this stuff off camera, let's get on camera, let's start clip farming and get content for the people.
Yeah. So look, the basis of this podcast is we're going to spend majority of the time talking about baseball. We might dabble in other conversations. Obviously, if there's topics that people want to hear discussed, we're open to it. You know, we're going to have a voicemail set up. You can call in, you can vent, you can cry, you can cuss, you can do whatever you want. We're going to pick out some of the best voicemails to listen to and kind of just give raw reactions to that. A lot of the topics that we're going to be discussing will be tweets that people have sent me or, you know, concerns or whatever they want talked about, because for me, I want to be able to give authentic, organic, raw answers. So I think that's one thing in sports and in baseball that people don't really do is they don't really tell exactly how they're feeling. So this is going to be a podcast where we just shoot it straight. So love it or hate it, we're coming to you live.
Live, but not live. So give the people, a lot of people are going to watch this first one, most likely are going to know you. But I think you should give the people a little bit of background on you, as I did a little bit. You don't have to give your whole life story, but give people a little bit of background, baseball, all that kind of stuff. Because again, it's going to be kind of baseball. It's going to be a bit of a focus. And you can give your background. I'll give a little bit of mine too, because I have some knowledge in baseball. Never played professional baseball, but give it to the people.
Yeah, so for me, baseball has been the only thing that I've ever done. You know, had the luxury of playing Major League Baseball for a few seasons, did a lot of watching other people play, and ultimately, you know, found success at times and found a lot of not success. So we're here making a podcast now, so clearly you can see that there was less success in my career, but shout out to these guys revving their choppers behind us. We're in Bristol, Tennessee, by the way. Harrison and I play pickleball every day, chasing the dream, making a podcast. But anyways, baseball is the only thing I've done. It's really all that I know. And so for me, I've always been somebody that, you know, found a lot of headlines for right or wrong reasons. And a lot of that was just me being myself. And by me being myself, I felt like I was slightly taken advantage of from some headlines that some old folks up north, you know, wrote about me. So this is my way of taking control of the narrative finally and making this something that we want to do. So Harrison's going to try to tame this unhinged ginger that's going to be on camera, and we're going to do this shit the right way.
Yeah. So like Clint said, like we literally are together every day, 3-4 hours a day playing pickleball. So like Clint and I have gotten to know each other really well. We've known each other for a couple years in passing, friends of friends, just kind of like hung out here and there, like around people, but never really together. And then when pickleball started, we kind of like both were like, we doing this thing? Like,
yeah.
Are we sending it? We both have the time. We can basically build our own schedules and kind of have gone for it. And so that's where I feel like it's good because I kind of know how Clint is. And like I hear like even when we're playing pickleball, what he says under his breath to me, like he's got the charge up there. And I think, like you said, you've got all this history with like the New York journalism and like all this stuff. And I feel like you may not have had that opportunity to like just like say what you think back then, because there's like obviously controlling narrative of things with media and journalism and how they portray things. So it's like we've been thinking of like what's your media outlet? Like, what is your thing you can do on social media? And I feel like this kind of makes the most sense.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like I've always had an interest in doing something TV related. And, I mean, can you imagine me on ESPN? Like, it's not going to work. I'm going to have a muzzle. I'm going to have handcuffs on me within 5 minutes. So, like, I mean, I'm not going to say no to ESPN if they reach out. But let's just, like, keep it real. Like, I need to be able to be in an environment that's going to allow me to be myself. And so far, that environment is our own platform that we're doing. So recently, I've been on Twitter, started making a few trade deadline jokes. I mean, I've seen them all, guys. I've seen all the mock draft trades. Even going back to when I was playing, you guys were putting me in every single trade package. Every time they came up, it was me and Miguel Andahar. So I figured, why not tease a little joke out there, say this might be my year to get traded. It blows up. And so I'm sitting at home and I'm like, I got Twitter fingers a little bit, I'm going to get back on there.
You got clout on Twitter too.
I'm nasty on there. If you come for the head, you better not miss your shot, because I'm going to fire back. So a little bit of things circulated on Twitter, and I started to catch a little bit of momentum. And I'm talking positive feedback finally, like we weren't, it was not the lion's den that I was in anymore. I felt like I was in the race with the Warriors finally. They weren't coming after me. So with all that being said, like I started teasing, like, let's do this podcast. Like, maybe there's some stuff that I could say about baseball, because for me, I took a few years off. I felt like slightly burnt out about like baseball, and I've never really given my perspective on it, because like, what was the point? It was the only thing I ever did every day. So now it's like, why not give my perspective? Why not look at baseball through a little bit of a different lens right now, because I'm on the outside now, and ultimately be able to give a little bit of insight to like what kind of goes into some of the decisions, or what it was like, or just, certain scenarios that come up along the way. And, Harrison knows enough baseball to be able to sit here and go back and forth. And, we have plenty of things that we're going to talk about. And obviously a lot of those topics are probably going to result around the Yankees, because majority of my following is New York Yankees fans. And so this is not going to be a Yankees slander podcast. If they're doing good, then I'll talk good. If they're doing bad, I'll talk about how they're doing. But right now, they're not doing good, which is probably why I'm sitting in front of this camera, because I got to be the voice for the team. If the Yankees fans have no one to root for, Red Thunder is going to step up and be the guy for them. So I'm here, Harrison's here, and we're going to talk ball.
Yeah, and that's like you said. So I played baseball for like 14 years, since when I was like 4 or 5 till high school. Got to high school, was 5'2", could not make it. I played 2 innings the entire season. It was bad. I was too small to play. But now I'm a Braves fan. I was born and raised in Atlanta. My whole family's from Maryland. So I grew up on the Orioles, Braves, Ravens, Falcons. But I mainly have been a Braves fan for a while. So like I keep up. I was at the World Series, did all that. I've been keeping up. And I just see the slander of the Yankees online all the time now. And it's like, let me give a little bit of perspective from my side as a Braves fan.
Why not?
How I see the Yankees is like they have everything to be right now. They should be like the Dodgers. They should be. The Dodgers and Yankees spend so much money and have so many good players that they should be like the Yankees took Max Fried. Yeah. Max Fried was my guy. Like that hurt. And it's like now you got this tank and Max Fried. You got Aaron Judge. You've got all these players, and it's just like it's just showing that something's not meshing, and that's what hurts. Now the Braves this year suck. They're gonna probably get 100 losses instead of 100 wins. They're probably not gonna make the playoffs. So like I don't have much to say. This is just my outside perspective. Like I wish the Braves would spend money to get good players, but then sometimes it doesn't work out.
But the thing about the Yankees fans, it's like I think upsetting them the most is that they go from the World Series last year to now it's like it's a legitimate question, like could they miss out on the playoffs this year?
Yeah.
And I think they're 6 or 7 games above 500. They've had a tough stretch. They're going to continue to play teams that are really good this next few weeks. Like they're at home, or they're playing the Astros this week. So for me, it's like being in that locker room and kind of knowing the temperature of the team right now, which is pretty thawed. Like they're pretty cold right now, and knowing that with every waking second, it's it's a pressure builder. Like, it's building up. The fans are getting upset. The team is starting to hear the noise on the outside. The media is licking their lips every single time that these guys aren't performing. So when you put all that together, it's kind of a recipe for disaster, because ultimately they're staring themselves in the mirror and they're not seeing the same person that they saw a few weeks ago, because now they've got a big crack in their armor. And ultimately, like I said, this is not a slander podcast, but they suck right now. And so how do you have all that money invested in a team and you don't perform? Like, obviously players will be the ones that play, but I don't personally feel like the team is putting players in situations to succeed. They play a lot of guys out of position, whether that's position players playing positions that they don't play, pitchers pitching in innings that they don't normally pitch in. Like last night, David Bednar comes in, gets a 6-out save. He has a career-high pitch count. First outing with the team, they're emptying the tank because that's where they're at. They have to do it. Then the first game that after the trade deadline, all 4 of the players that they trade for caused them to lose the game. All 4 played a role. So the way they lost that game was those pitchers come in, they blow the game. The guy that's playing right field is an infielder, and he misses the ball. So, like, they had a right fielder on the bench that they traded for that is sitting there while an infielder is playing outfield. So it's just like playing for that team. Like, I played out of position many times. Like, I never played left field my entire career, but like went to the big leagues and played left field, and that's the hardest fucking position to play at Yankee Stadium. You put me there? Me? Like, I was the guy that had 8 question marks next to his defense on the sheet. So that's like one of the things that you're talking about. Like, there's a lot of things that go into this, but ultimately, like, players need to be put in situations where they can succeed, and it's got to start from the top. The top's the one that puts them in those situations, and it's not easy in New York.
I can't imagine. Like, I know that the Yankees fans are, like, very diehard. It's like there's a culture around New York. It's like I go there and I love it. That's the one city that I could move to. 100%. Every time I go and I stay in the same spot, the little pocket. I get it. And you have the New York Yankees and you have the Mets, the banter there and the back and forth. And it's like, I don't know. From an outsider's perspective, I feel like, to me, it's like that could be like a dynasty team right now with who they've got.
Bruh.
And then it's like I can see the pain that would bring. It's crazy.
It's tough for these fans because, like, it's unique, right? Like, there's a winning culture that they've developed there, but in the last, I don't know the exact number, they haven't won a World Series in a long time. Like 50, I don't know, was it 09? I'm not a baseball historian, so it's been a long time, right? So, like, you can almost say that, like, the Yankee way has been thrown out because they have not won a World Series. Like, and the thing that I'll say personally is that these people pride themselves saying that if we don't win a championship, it's a failed season. Yeah. And when you say that, you are fucking yourself over. Because basically, like, I mean, how many teams repeat World Series back to back? So, like, you're going to have a failed season if you don't win it. And so if you do win it, cool. But if you don't win it the next year, failed. It's like, that's not – like, I just hate when I see that stuff where they're like, it's a failed season. It's like, well, one guy hit 70 fucking home runs.
Yeah.
Like, that is not a failed season. So –
and then look at the other team on the other side that they were going against in that World Series. Like, that's also an insanely stacked team. And it's like, I mean, they probably have a high likelihood of potentially repeating. I mean,
yeah,
with Shohei's pitching and like how he's hitting, and like when you say that about like if you don't win, it's like a failure. I have a similar feeling in like football with the Ravens, where it's like I have that toxic thought of like they don't win the Super Bowl this year. What is the point? Like Lamar has all these question marks, and I feel like that the Yankees fans probably are in a similar position as I am, where you're like, you have everything you need. You can do it. Why aren't you doing it?
It's so fucking hard, though, dude. It's so hard. There's so many variables in each game that determine an outcome. Whether it's a borderline blind umpire behind the plate, like just like maybe a shitty call, a bad play, bad hop, errors. Like there's just so many like things, and there's so many days in a year that like you can't be perfect. So to say that the season is a bust if you don't win it all, like for me, that's a big like mess up from the jump. Like you can't determine a failed season if you don't win the World Series because like
one team wins it.
One team out of all the teams wins it. You're right. So for me, that's like right off the bat, brother, when you say that and you got a guy like Randy Miller or you got a guy that writes for the New York Post, like they hear that, they're seething. They're waiting, like they know failed season. We're going to get them. So you just create this, like, you create a monster when you say that. And that monster is ultimately going to, like, be the demise of your season if that's how you're looking at it because it's boom or bust. And that's tough. Yeah. And the players know that too.
Yeah.
That's the hard part is that, like, bro, like, let's just play the game and, like, where you end up is where you end up. You know what I mean? Like, if it's boom or bust, like, you're putting pressure immediately. And New York is enough pressure. Like, enough enough is enough. You guys are a little crazy sometimes. So you're adding fuel to the fire.
My question is, and something that I think is unique for people to, like, find out is, like, let's hear some perspective of, like, a player for a team like the Yankees of, like, the stuff that people are saying. Like, if you mess up, you fuck up and you drop a ball, you fuck up, you're on a slump. Like, from what's the logistically side, like, talking about it? Is anybody talking about it in the locker room? Are you being talked to by batting coaches? Or, like, just what's that inside details when things are happening?
I think that, like, you know, when you start to struggle, there's a number that you get to, like, at bats wise, where people will start to, like, start checking in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
how's that swing looking?
Yeah, like if you go like 0 for 10, like no one's really saying anything. But once you start like creeping into that like 0 for 15, 0 for 20 range, people are like, hey man, like, are you good? Like, what can I do? How can I help you? And I think that like you as a player, you know that you're struggling, right? Because like the biggest thing that I always noticed was like the games would start at 7:30, we'd finish at 11. You have until midnight to really digest and soak in the success that you just had. And then once midnight hits, the game, it's over. Yeah. So it's like, I got to do this shit again. And that's the hard part, right? Because you got a guy throwing 150 on the mound the next day and like a day game with shadows and just, it's just a lot. So when these people start to like creep in and maybe a player doesn't think that they're struggling and they just had a bad stretch and then the coaches start to like question it or fans start to question it or the media. It's just like in New York, it is a constant headline. That's it. Whether it's the fans creating the headline, the player creating the headline, the organization, whatever. So as long as you can just keep yourself under the radar as much as you can, because like ultimately, brother, you go out there and you pop 5 home runs in 1 week, you're Babe Ruth. And once you stop being Babe Ruth, they're going to ask why you aren't Babe Ruth anymore. Yeah. So it's kind of like you live and die by the success sword. But ultimately, like, bro, players know how to navigate the waters of not having success. But, like, dude, it's you do have that voice in your head that starts creeping in around 15 at-bats where it's like, whoa.
Yeah. So is that different in, like, when you're on the White Sox? Like, is that – the vibe's just totally different?
Vibes are way different, right? Because, like, the way that I looked at it was, like, when I was in the White Sox locker room, the media was in the locker room after the games, but I didn't know who the fuck was the media. And that was because they never came over and asked anybody questions. I don't even know if the media knew that they were media. The New York Yankees media, it's a fucking block party in there. There's 50 plus people in there. They're hanging out by the lockers. They got their ears turned in a certain direction to maybe eavesdrop. 70% of the guys are butt-ass naked in there while there's media just, like, walking around. And you're just like, I can't even put my clothes on without this guy wanting to know why I dropped that ball. And so it's tough because I feel like the Yankees have put themselves outside of Major League Baseball. Like, Major League Baseball is here, and then the Yankees have kind of, like, created their own, like, we're better than everybody else. Like, this is the Yankee way. Like, and so because of that, it's a monster. It's a monster that, like, if you're going to be the people banging on your chest all the time, like, someone's going to knock you down. And the media's there to knock you down because ultimately they need some clicks on their articles, and they're going to get them, my friends.
The Yankees are kind of like, they've grown that in the world of, like, you go to other countries, people wearing Yankees hats. They're not wearing like Braves hats. They're not wearing whatever. I mean, Dodgers and Yankees, that's the two that, like, they have culturally risen above.
I think that there was like a stat out there at one point where it was like 1/3 of sports, like, memorabilia or like attire that sold was New York Yankee related, right? So it's such a noteworthy brand itself, but ultimately, like, it's the best, it's the coolest place to play. I mean, I don't want people to think that I hated being a New York Yankee. I hated the people that were, like, running the team, and it seems like a lot of people on Twitter hate the people that are running the team too. So imagine a guy like me having to deal with the people that y'all hate. It didn't go well.
And you can't sit there and, like, say whatever you want to these higher ups when you're on the team. Like, they're writing your checks. They're the one that could potentially, like, push you away. Like, that, like, all those things I feel like, from my perspective, are at stake, where you're like, you can't have a podcast and be on a team like that and then go home and be like, yeah, what was that, Aaron Boone? Like, what are we doing out there? Then you're going to get everybody coming at you on the team, be like, yeah, you're out, Clint.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, I mean, one of the first things that happens when you become a New York Yankee, right? Like, I don't know exactly if they're doing it now, but I do know that they were doing it when I was there, is that if you have under 3 years of service time, they are giving you media training every spring training, mandatory. You sit in there, they come up with questions, they pin you in the corner, they ask you political questions, they ask you, I don't know, anything that's freaking trending at the time that might be like a spicy topic to talk about, and it's all to just treat it like it's the media. And so that's the first thing they do, is they're like, yo, this is a huge part of being on this team, is navigating the media, because ultimately that can be your demise. And so when you play for an organization like that, to know that you aren't only thinking about baseball all the time is hard, because now you've got that monster out there that's the media that, like, I couldn't even walk to Starbucks without seeing newspapers that were like, this guy sucks. And it's like, and then you walk in the locker room and the guy that wrote the article is looking at you and he's like, and you're like, I saw that article, dude. Like, don't even think about winking at me like that. So, but that's the thing. Like, they know, dude. They know. They looked at a guy like me and they're like, I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to get that guy. And they got that guy. But this guy is going to get those guys now because it's my time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that, like, Clint talks about, people ask him in person or just, like, randomly comes up in a conversation that, like, I feel is going to be really good to talk about. Like, it's not all going to come out in one episode. Like, I told Clint, like, it's a sustaining thing. It's like, you just got to get episodes out and then kind of feel out what people want to see, and you'll kind of figure that out. Because I've done a podcast in the past, and, like, for example, we've got tweets of stuff that we're going to go over. There's a thing, like, for me, all right, I'm a baseball fan. I get really pissed off when there are, like, egregious umpire calls, stuff like that. And so, like, we want to curate clips, and we specifically, Clint created a Reddit page, and we want you guys to post clips for us to react to. And mainly what's going to be is, like, I'm going to kind of vet them and show them to Clint, because I kind of feel like I know his humor and what he would think is funny and what's not. Same with, like, tweets, because I feel like it's better to get the raw reaction than him see them before. Like, same thing with the voicemail thing. Like, I want us to be able to kind of look through all of those things, and I feel like you guys would want to see, like, what was that one pitch the other day? Who was the umpire? I don't know the umpire's name. Now that Angel Hernandez is gone, he was, like, the main one. I
got a great Angel story.
Awful. So much with that. But there was a pitch right down the middle, and the umpire called it a ball. And it was, like, last week. And that went so viral. There's, like, a Twitter page that's, like, Welcome to the Ump Show, which I love. They, like, stopped doing stuff. But
dude,
did they ever get you on anything? Oh, no, you're not ump, so.
I got by the umpires all the time, though. And that was just from a sense of like, these guys just suck.
Egos.
But here's the thing, like if we're going to be like real about these umpires, like they're old. They are. They're 50, 60 years old back there. And I have heard, especially like during the sticky era, right? Like when 2020 rolled around, I played baseball my whole fucking life. And pitches started moving more. And pitches started coming in faster. And everybody was recognizing it, right? Like I remember in COVID, stadiums are empty and Rich Hill is out there on the mound and you can just hear with every pitch that he's throwing, you can hear like a and it's like that ball is sticking to his fingers. And I'm looking at this umpire and I'm like, are you going to go out there and like touch his fingers and confirm what I'm hearing? And he's like, what am I going to do? It's like, what do you mean, what are you going to do? Like, you're here, go out there, touch his fingers, get him out the fucking game. But they're ripping off stuff, and these umpires are just not equipped to be able to see it because they're old now, and their union is so strong. Like, they can't be sent down because their performance is bad. If you look at the strike zone on the screen, that's not the strike zone that they're getting graded by behind the scenes. They have a buffer zone like 3 to 4 inches outside of it where if they get it in that buffer zone, they're okay. I don't know why we have a strike zone. I'm telling you, the automated strike zone is going to be fucking awesome.
I cannot wait.
It's going to be
Why has it been this long?
awesome because they just said that they weren't able to like configure it the right way. And here's the thing, bro.
Or they'll complain that it's going to be too slow, and it's like, I've seen it.
Oh.
You've seen it implemented, and it works.
Dude, it's awesome. You're going to see it up on the big screen. It's going to be the first time that an umpire gets to stand there and fucking, and wear it. And have a little bit of accountability for that shit call that he just had. Because ultimately, they don't get held accountable, and there's so much on the line, right? And they mess up the calls, and you get it. They're human, like they are. But, dude.
It sets the standard for the rest of the at-bat. If you throw the first pitch, high fastball, he calls it a strike. Now you're having to cover that high fastball when it's not typically in your strike zone. And to me, a professional baseball player who's in their 20s, 30s is going to have better recognition of a strike zone they'll be looking at their entire life than some 50-year-old umpire. That's from my perspective.
But even to go off of that, like I used to always say, like, how can I be in the box? I can lift my leg, I can do this, and I can go down, and I can land on the ground. I know it's a ball. But this umpire is just
standing.
No, I don't see it. It's a ball. It's like
it's the egos.
It's insane.
Like I don't understand how some of you guys. I mean, did you ever get thrown out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't understand. Some people have some good patience, but like to sit there and like, if they're getting it wrong and just like staring them at the face, I feel like I have seen a clip of you.
Yeah, I got thrown out in 2021 by Bill Miller, who's the head of all umpires. And Bill threw me out. He had called a few pitches outside a strike that were not strikes. And then he called one inside on me. And like you were talking about, you have to cover a different part of the zone once they start giving it to you. And so I looked at him right in the face and I was like, I fucking hope you like watching film after the game. It's going to be a long fucking night for you, dude. And he threw me out. And that was it. I mean, that was my only major league ejection. I had multiple in the minor leagues. But like, my God, Bill's one of those dudes that like the next year he'll remember it.
Yeah, he's gonna.
And then the next year he'll remember it. And until you like go up and you give Bill a little pat on the back, like, what's up, Bill? Like he's just gonna keep fucking strike. Like he's just gonna keep doing that to you. And that is where it's like the automated strike zone is gonna be a really, really good gut check for that kind of person.
But do you think that, I mean, they're gonna be held accountable? Like, is it gonna make it a little bit worse with like, now it's like, I'm calling you out right now.
Bro, I remember being in the minor leagues and I went to challenge a call, right? And the umpire was like, you sure you want to challenge that? And I was like, fuck yeah. Went up there, it was a fucking ball, and I looked at him and I was like, yeah. So it's going to be like a lot of people's egos on the line because players do get calls wrong. So they think they're wrong, or they think that that it's a ball, it's really a strike.
It could go both ways,
Vice versa. So it's just going to be, there's too much on the line for these guys to miss that many calls and not have a way to challenge it. Like you can challenge everything else. Yeah. So why not challenge the strike zone? I love that they're going to have that in the game. It's It's awesome, bro. These pitchers are too good for everyone to know where these balls actually are. So it's not just going to be for the umpires. It's got to be for everybody. Everyone just needs to know, like, that was a strike, that was a ball, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's a product at the end of the day, too. It's like NFL when you watch and they miss a penalty or they do a bad penalty. It's like the problem is that we at home can see it.
Yeah.
And it's like the owners or like the higher ups act like the people don't matter. But I don't know, like Roger Goodell, he needs to understand when it looks like the Chiefs are getting favoritism, the people are going to have a thought there. Like people are going to feel that type of way.
No, I mean, look, that's the name of the game. Is human error is going to happen, but if we have all these things behind the scenes, like they have stuff on every stadium, it's called Hawkeye, and they can track how fast this runner is running in the outfield, and if you can do that, let's just get the freaking strike zone up on the scoreboard and let's just move on.
Yeah,
that's really it. So, I mean, look, to jump to the next topic, like. Again, all my tweets lately have been about my boys, my Yankees. And a lot of people, I want to ask you this question because you don't have skin in the game. Being a Braves fan, would you want to see Snitker fired after this kind of season? I have seen he's retiring after this season too, by the way.
It's tough because I feel like people aren't giving the scrutiny to somebody like Snit as they are to Aaron Boone currently. But maybe because people don't expect as much from the Braves because, like, when they won the World Series, it was, to me, that's kind of like a miracle year. Like, they, weren't the best team in baseball. It kind of just fell together, and it was kind of crazy. And so, it's been a couple years after that, and we've lost a lot of players. And so, I do see some people upset at Snit, but then I see people mad at, the behind the scenes of who Alex Anthopoulos, who's hot, getting these players. So me personally, it's been harder to watch this year, and I don't personally think, and my mind doesn't go to fire Snicker, but he's getting a little old, and maybe it's time to pass the torch. But I don't know who they're going to pass it to.
Exactly. So I'm glad you said that because for me, I tweeted something out the other day and was like, what would you want to see the Yankees do differently? There was a lot of colorful responses. A lot of people really agreed on one thing, and it said fire Boone. And again, I want to emphasize that I have no reason to back anybody up on the Yankees. Other than they were nice people to me in there, so I would talk good about them. But I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm more so just as a person that was inside that locker room and had been around that guy and knows not 100% how it's ran, but knows a vast majority of how it's ran. If you fire Boone, you've got to fire a lot of other people too. Because Boone is just the mouthpiece for a lot of other things that are happening inside that organization. So if you want to see Boone gone, others have to go with him because there is a lot of times that Boone has predetermined things that are going to happen in the game, right? So when the lineup is made, I was told by other people that Booney would write his lineup, and then the analytical team would write their lineup, and that they would come together and decide how the lineup for the day was going to be written. If they had comparables that they liked, like a certain guy in a certain spot that they agreed on, they stayed. But they would go back and forth, right? So with that being said, a guy like Booney can't be held responsible for every single decision because if the lineup is predetermined, then you have to assume that if the seventh inning rolls around and X, Y, and Z is going to be hitting, then X, Y, and Z is going to be the pitcher that's going to be throwing to them in certain scenarios, right? They like to get ahead of the game and think about scenarios before they happen. So in my mind, when I see all the tweets saying fire Boone, I can't see many things changing if he's gone. Because the next guy that comes in is probably going to be in the same scenario where he's going to have to put this guy in or this guy there. And so it's hard to obviously managers have a certain role. They can override things in the game. They don't have an earpiece saying you got to do this. But again, man, like if they make the wrong decision, they're going to go into the locker room after the game and somebody's going to be there to check them to be like, this was the thought. Why did you go against it? So it's hard. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say fire Boone because I don't know what would change, but like something's got to change. Something's got to change maybe behind the scenes, you know. Maybe they got to like ego check themselves and come to the conclusion that like something right now is not working and maybe we should give it a different look.
I think that makes sense. And in my eyes, if somebody comes in, like right now there's not a clear person who would replace him. Is that person that comes in going to have less control and like less of like an ability to like say what's going to happen? I guess not. If they're giving them the reins of a managerial position, like then they're going to have the free will to do what they want. But I guess they would be picky about who they bring in.
Like I remember being a rookie and Joe Girardi telling me that this is crazy to say, but Joe Girardi told me that part of being a New York Yankees manager is that you have to be really good with the media, right? So Booney was on MLB Network and then got hired to be our manager. So right there, check number one is that he did media. He did TV work. They knew that he could talk to the media because they saw it, right? Number two is that he's a player. Number three is that everyone in his fucking family is a baseball rat. Brother, dad, everyone's involved in baseball. So, and he played for the Yankees. So there's a lot of things that like made sense to bring Booney in, right? But like I do remember the first thing thinking like this dude came off MLB Network and is our manager. Whatever. I've seen crazier things. But Joe Girardi tells me big things being able to navigate the media. But then he made a comment that said that the bench coach is more of the manager than he is, right? And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, I'm going to be the guy that's going to be in the front talking to the media, but Rob Thompson's going to be the guy that is going to help me make these decisions. You know, kind of like the checks and balances, because he's the guy that's dialed in on everything that all these predetermined outcomes, right? Like when you see the manager walk out to the mound and they got that piece of paper in their back pocket, there's fucking cheat sheets, and that's a cheat sheet in their back pocket, right? Like just like so much there. So when the next season rolls around, like I heard something through the grapevine that when Girardi gets fired and they're going through situations to find this next manager, every player on the team wanted Rob Thompson to be the manager. Like I still to this day know he was the guy. Like he would have been such a good option. Obviously, I'm not taking anything away from Booney, but like Rob Thompson was the guy that should have probably got the first look. But from what I was told is that when he went into the meeting, he told the team that he wouldn't have done anything differently than Joe Girardi did. And so they're kind of like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like how are we going to get past what we just got through if his successor is sitting here saying he wouldn't do anything differently? So if Booney were to go, the next guy cannot come in and do everything the same.
Yeah.
Like that's just the reality of not just being a New York Yankees manager, it's being like even in a normal workplace too. If something's not working, like you can't have the same person come in and do the same thing that the person that you just fired did and expect that it's going to be
results. Yeah.
So again, not to just spend the whole episode talking about Booney, but like that's been like 90% of my tweets is people wanting to see his head on a stick, and it's like my guys, he looks miserable right now. Like, what are y'all doing to him?
Yeah, and speaking of, do you want to get into some tweets?
We got to get into some tweets.
Let's get into some tweets. So I've got some tweets for Clint to react to. A lot of you guys are sending them. If you want to send more, I think the best thing from now would be to start posting some stuff on the Reddit.
Okay.
I think for people to start what they want to see, because I feel like I want to get into talking about baseball headlines and all the clips and everything too. So that's where like that Reddit is gonna become like a curated place for us to have all that stuff.
Yeah, the Reddit, the voicemail.
I'm gonna go. Do you want any kind of like order in this? Because like I got a couple. Like this first one here is from Charlie. Shave the damn beards. Not mandated by the front office, but the players themselves. The captain must captain. Now, I remember you telling me about your endeavors with your long hair and the beard and all that, and now things have changed, and those things aren't really applying as much as they were back when you were playing. So how do you feel about that?
Look, I saw a few tweets the other day during this like spell where the Yankees have lost like 5 straight, and everyone's like, these fuckers need to go back to being clean shaven. And it's like, what does that have to do with playing baseball? So for me, look, guys, I'm going to be so dead honest with you. In that locker room, there's probably 2 guys in there that want to shave, right? Nobody wants to do that every single day. And I remember seeing Hal Steinbrenner say something along the lines of, if this is a issue where a player's not going to want to sign in free agency with us, it's not worth it. The beards aren't doing anything. They're not hurting you. They're actually probably helping you because a player finally feels comfortable on the field because, like, it's 2025 and you can't. How can you tell people how to look? It's baseball. Like, I remember, like, even to the extent of, like, I remember there was a rule in, like, this is, like, just so far down the rabbit hole, but I was so fucking fed up with that shit, where there's a rule in New York City where you cannot make people shave or cut their hair to work in that city. And I remember being like, I'm gonna fucking tell them that.
Enact this law.
I'm gonna tell them that.
Speak to my lawyers.
Obviously, it didn't work, but, yeah, I think the beards are fine. Like, just give it a rest.
All right, another one. We got Greg James. Are you going to be 100% honest about behind the scenes, or there's going to be some glazed over version of what we already know?
Buddy, I'm here to I'm gonna give it to you how you want it, which is raw, authentic, pause, and I'm just gonna be me. Like I said, I'm not here to slander. I'm not here to talk bad, but like I'm here to just like be the person that's gonna say the things that other people want to say. Like, yeah, 100% authentic. 100% real. You can agree or disagree, but just know it's my opinion, and maybe it's not always right, but it's my opinion. So yeah, expect like real shit on this place.
Yeah, and I like there's, if you can already tell from how we've gotten into it here, but there's like stories that I feel like you should get into, and the people I think will, as we continue to like talk, we'll ask about. Like there's stuff going on with CC Sabathia lately. Like he's telling stories like that whole Jordan thing. Like we got to do an episode on that. Like. We got to talk about that because, like, that involves sneakers, all this stuff. I mean, he's talking about it now. It's not. You didn't even bring it back up.
I didn't.
You told me that story, like, I don't know how long ago. And then it came back up just, like, recently, which is crazy because, obviously, you're not playing right now. And I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Well,
but.
Yeah, we'll have a full episode on that because that itself is something that needs to be – everyone's gotten to tell the story except me. So –
You got to get that paper. You got to find that paper, too.
That fucking contract
dude,
is
let me go
in my house, dude.
Let me go help you find that thing.
It was the thickest paper I've ever felt. It was so convincing. Like, that was fucked up, CC. But, like, I'm going to be straight up. The person I'm most upset with is Dellin. Dellin Betances, if you don't know him. But Dellin was the guy that, like, I remember, I'm not going to go into the full story, but I went up to Dellin and was like, dude, I got this letter. And he was like, because I got the same letter. And I was so convinced because of him. So that was fucked up, Dellin.
We're going to get into that.
I still got love for you, but that was the convincer right there.
Those types of stories is like, we need your perspective. All right, Reese Stark says, thoughts on receiving your first WBOTY vote?
I'm White Boy of the Year candidate. I'm open to it. I'm accepting of it. And I think that my case for White Boy of the Year is only going to grow as I continue to just unveil what's behind the scenes, really. So I appreciate you. What was his name?
That was Reese.
Stark. Appreciate you, my guy.
Derek Lewandowski says, if the show isn't called Legendary Bat Speed, I give up.
You might be giving up.
It's a good name. It's a good name, but...
It's a good name.
We're still working through it because obviously this is a work in progress, and I told Clint we can't just sit here and not put anything out because we're waiting on a name. I think the name's gonna come, and maybe the people will help bring it. So if you guys have suggestions,
100%.
besides legendary bat speed,
But don't be coming at me with like Red Thunder or Red Piper or whatever. Like I don't want like this is not like foul ball or like I don't know. I don't want anything. I know the name I want. I got a name out there, but I got a friend that I told that we would do the podcast together in the future, and it's the best name ever. So I'm trying to like think of other names for it, but I don't know if legendary bat speed is going to make it, even though that was a quality of mine. Shout out Cashman. I don't think that one's going to stick. I'm sorry.
So this one's kind of about games recently. It's from Kenny Morales. He says, in all honesty, just read the room, ride bats when they're hot, replace them when they're cold. If somebody isn't thriving in a spot, give them a new spot, stop forcing things to work, and utilize players where they are strong.
That was a tweet that I did respond to, and I did say, I agree with this. And that kind of, it's like what I'm going to say is kind of a reiteration of me saying earlier where they play players out of position, they pitch pitchers in unique situations that they're not used to being in. So I agree with that one because like I said, like this is the show. Like you're in the show. And when you have players that are in the minor leagues that have played in certain positions their entire career or pitched in certain situations and they pitch in the minor leagues or play in the minor leagues and that's what they're used to doing, and then you get to the big leagues for the first time and it's like, hey bud, Shohei's up and you got to go knock him down right here. And it's like, well, I've been a starter my whole career and you want me to pitch the 7th inning right here? Like it's different. We're human, right? Like, and again, it's New York City. So you go in and it's the fucking Coliseum, dude. You got fans out there that are screaming. You got balls being thrown on the field. And then you just fucked the 9th inning up, but you're a starter. Like, it's like, what did you want me to do, man? Like, I was the first time I ever pitched out the pen in my life. Like, so again, like, let's just find a spot that, like you said, find a spot that players thrive in, give them the opportunity to thrive in that, and you might find success. If you play them out of position, like, expect an unorthodox option or an unorthodox result.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
It's crazy. It kind of makes a little too much sense to me.
I guarantee you, as you say, people chirping and stuff in the crowd. There's some people watching this that at one point were probably chirping at you when you were on the field. So
yeah,
say you're sorry in the comments.
I'm playing left field, and I've never played left field before, and it's the biggest position on the field, right? Like, no wonder I dropped all those fly balls. The next year, I was a Gold Glove in right field, okay? Went from being the worst defensive outfielder in 2019 to second best in right. Shocker. Played the position I was fucking comfortable at, you know? And then I remember I played left later in the year, got benched, looked crazy out there. I didn't like it. I was so uncomfortable out there. And it's just like, here's the reality, bro. People knew that I sucked out there. And I sucked out there because I was learning that shit on the go. And Jason Dominguez is a great example, too, where he played center field his whole career, and you put him in left, and he looks a little shaky out there. He looks like me. And I know that feeling where the ball's coming to you, and you're just like, oh, fuck. Like, It's spinning a different direction. It's coming off the bat differently. And, like, I feel like people watch you for the wrong reasons versus they don't want to see you succeed. They're watching to see you fail so they can shut you down again. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part about the formula that I feel like the Yankees have kind of created, where they put players out there and they're just like, go get them, bud. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know, like, thanks, man. Like, appreciate it.
That kind of leads into a question from Blue Shirts Rob saying, do you think your development would have been different or better in a smaller market, or are you happy it happened in New York?
I would have been a fucking star somewhere else.
What team?
Any team.
Name a team that if you had a choice to get traded to, and one of these speculative trades that they came up with, and you get to go play right field, be that guy.
The Cleveland Indians. They drafted me.
Yeah?
That's where I wanted to be. Like, I was, they loved me there. I built up this whole fucking hype train of myself in the minor leagues. You know what I mean? Like I made people think that I was going to be really fucking good. And then the Yankees took me and I was fucked. I was fucked. But like, I mean, I'm not taking away from the fact that I got to play for like the Yankees, but like everybody saw how it went. Like, I mean, I was grinding for at bats and like I was backing up the best player in baseball. So like I was in a unique situation where it was like I was the 5th overall pick, benched immediately. And like, again, playing players out of position. I never sat the bench my entire career. So again, you put me in a situation as a young kid making his major league debut. I go from playing every single day to now I'm coming in the 7th, 8th inning, maybe for a pinch hit, pinch run, playing every other day. It's hard. Like,
you're not in the flow.
It's hard, bro. It's like, you got to be consistent. And like, I was consistently benched. And so, you know, I knew that like, I think the biggest thing for me was that like, I knew that there was an expiration date on my playing time. I knew that I was playing that position because somebody was hurt. And so I always knew when their rehab assignment was coming up because I was like, I'm going to pack my bags like 3 days in advance so I just don't get surprised, you know. And so I do believe that like I would have been in a different situation had I not been traded. But like that's how the cookie crumbled. I'm making a podcast about why the Yankees are crumbling now. And so kind of coming full circle for this guy right now.
So for the last tweet of the night that we're going to get into, Tennis Guy asks or says Williams cannot be the closer anymore. It had 42 likes.
42 likes.
Which
a lot of people agree with that.
That was one of the top ones.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair. And I think, like, again, I'm a player's guy. Like, I'm not coming at you, Devin Williams. I'm really not. But, again, it goes to, like, what I just agreed upon, like playing people out of position, finding a new role. Devin Williams is a closer. There's no doubt about it. His track record shows that that guy is nails. In the last 3 years, he's given up 26 runs. In this season, he's given up 26 runs.
Jeez.
So his season total matches what he's given up in the last 3 years. So I personally think that giving him a new role right now is not the worst thing. I don't think that he would think that's the worst thing. Because ultimately, he wants to just get in and get outs. And if he's getting in and he's giving up runs and blowing the games, he's got to answer to those miserable fucks after the game on what happened. And so I look at that dude and I'm like, I know this guy don't give a fuck to talk to these people. And he knows he's nasty, bruh. He's got this changeup that is like a fucking knuckleball coming in. And then he's got 96, 97 on top of it. But right now, let's give him a new spot to pitch in and give him some success because ultimately the playoffs are going to come around and he's going to need to pitch in any scenario. So just like, let's just get there unscathed the best way that we can because like, brother, they traded for him because he's nasty. And I faced that dude and he's funky. And ultimately, like you got David Bednar, who's another closer. You got Luke Weaver. I think he's hurt right now. They wanted him to be the closer. They've got plenty of guys that can close out the 9th inning. So, like, again, bruh, it's a team game. You want to win the games. And if you're having trouble closing out the games, like, I think that everyone in that locker room would agree that, like, we don't really give a shit who's the guy finishing the game as long as we're finishing the game. So, shout out to Devin Williams, man. You've been wearing it on the chin, and I appreciate you going out there, dude, because I don't know you personally, but I think that you and me would get along.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good one to wrap up on. So I think, again, we need to reiterate, we're going to link the Reddit down below.
Oh, yeah. Clint's reactions.
Go. You guys want to see, like, raw, uncut stuff? Like, send stuff to the top on the Reddit. I'm going to pull it up for Clint and let him see it, and we're going to pick some of the best stuff. So we want to kind of curate a community there. Comments wherever you're watching this, if you're listening or just watching, and make sure to keep up on socials. I think Clint's 100% the most active on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Instagram, it's not even like, it's
Not
like once every 3 months. But
it's inactive. So, again, like you said, we'll have a Reddit page created. Look, we're going to have a lot of outlets where people can post things that we'll pull the best options from. But The Reddit would be a good option. My Twitter is a good option. The voicemail is a good option. We're just getting started. This is the first episode. Episode 2, I do have a special guest, I think, that will be a good one that people will enjoy hearing how he's going to speak, and it's going to be refreshing. So expect episode 2 is going to have somebody from the baseball world that will be able to give a perspective that I think people will like. So appreciate you joining me, and I hope that everyone enjoyed it. And we're going to come at you guys with episode 2 here pretty soon.
Subscribe down below. Make sure you subscribe to the Clint Frazier channel, and follow us on socials if you want to check it out down below. You don't have much of a reason to follow me unless you're into sneakers.
Yeah.
So doesn't bother me if you don't, but just know you're going to keep seeing my face.
You have enough subscribers, dude.
Yeah, but Instagram's been slowing down. So if you're going to see my face around, and if you end up liking me, maybe they hate me because I'm not a true diehard Yankees fan, but I want to give a different perspective. We got to have different perspectives.
Listen, bro, whether they love or hate you, they're going to have to deal with you.
And I'll see it in the comments. And you can't get under my skin in the comments. They're going to probably try now.
Yeah, they are.
I have been on the internet for 8 years. I have heard the craziest things that you could possibly hear about myself. So I've been through it. That's something that Clint and I relate on. Like, being on the internet, I've seen it. I've been scrutinized. I have Reddit pages written about me. I got all that. So we're here for it.
Hey, we don't give a fuck. Come for our heads. You just better not miss. That's what I said.
Make it to the top of the Reddit post at least so that we can talk about it on the podcast.
Yes. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be coming at you guys with another episode soon.
See you guys.
See ya.